What's up, all you Quantumaniacs? I'm DeQwan Young, and today we present the 10 most shocking first-round series eliminations of all time. Don't forget to subscribe to TPS and make sure you hit the bell and turn on our notifications and join the notification squad. Don't forget to leave your video ideas down in the comment section below. We're looking and we'll give you a shout out in the video if we use it. Now, some teams dominate the regular season so much that anything less than a championship is considered a failure. Of course, there are different types of failures in the sporting world. Losing in the finals or even the semifinals, while disappointing, is rarely cause for humiliation. After all, it's hard to win a championship over 30-something other teams in any sport. But what about when a top seed and championship contender loses to a major underdog in the opening round? Now, that's another story. Number 10, the 02-03 Colorado Avalanche. These Avalanche weren't as dominant as the 96 and 2001 Stanley Cup winners, but they still managed to take the Northwest Division with 105 points. Not only that, but the Avalanche also drew a favorable matchup against the Minnesota Wild. That team was only in its third year of existence. Colorado, led by future Hall of Famers Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, and Patrick Waugh, jumped out to a 3-1 series lead. Everything was looking up for Colorado until they lost the next two games, and were thus forced to go back home for Game 7. The Avalanche and Wild Game 7 required overtime, and Andrew Burnett scored the game winner that silenced all of Colorado. The underdog Wild had beaten the perennial Western Conference powerhouse, and it was the last game of Waugh's storied career. It's rarely considered much of an upset when the number 6 seed beats the number 3, but this was something else. A young Wild franchise with few notable players erased a 3-1 deficit to take down a team loaded with future Hall of Famers, vying for dynasty status. That's simply amazing. Number 9, the 2017 Cleveland Indians. The Indians were one swing of the bat away from winning the 2016 World Series, but they fell to the Chicago Cubs in a gut-wrenching 7th game. You recall that Cleveland blew a 3-1 series lead. Well, the Indians kept that core together and they looked poised to compete for the World Series yet again. They won 102 regular season games and had a jaw-dropping plus 254 run differential. They also pieced together a historic 22-game winning streak. Jose Ramirez batted .318, Edwin Encarnacion clubbed 38 homers and 107 RBIs. Cleveland's 5 starters each won double-digit games, and Corey Kluber won the AL Cy Young Award. The Indians met the young and somewhat rebuilding New York Yankees in the ALDS. Cleveland won the first 2 games and looked poised for a sweep, but the Yankees rallied to win the next 3 games, ending Cleveland's remarkable and historic 102-win season. And so, Cleveland's championship drought continued following a shocking ALDS defeat. Number 8, the 98-99 Miami Heat. In a lockout-shortened season, Pat Riley's Miami Heat earned the top spot in the Eastern Conference with a 33-17 record. Led by Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, and Jamal Mashburn, Miami had the league's second-best defense, allowing just 84 points per game. Their offensive rating placed 9th in the NBA, and with Michael Jordan retired and the Chicago Bulls dynasty broken up, the East was really Miami's to lose. The Heat met the 8th-seeded Knicks, who went 27-23 in the regular season. They ranked 4th in defense, but a horrendous 27th in offense. This should have been a cakewalk for Miami. So, what happened? Miami just couldn't shoot, and the underdog Knicks really came together with phenomenal field goal shooting. The Knicks shot 43.8% from the field, and the Heat shot 40%. When all was said and done, the Knicks dispatched the Heat with relative ease in 5 games. They go on to reach the NBA Finals, losing to the San Antonio Spurs in 5 games. Still, the Knicks knew they had to hold their heads high after pulling off a monumental upset for the ages. Number 7, the 05-06 Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings were far and away the NHL's best team during the regular season. They won the President's Trophy after finishing with 58 wins and 124 points. The Red Wings finished second in both goals for and fewest goals allowed. They also had an impressive plus 96 goals for differential. Led by future Hall of Famers Pavel Datsyuk, Henrik Zetterberg, and Nicholas Lidstrom, among others, the Red Wings looked primed to win their 4th Stanley Cup in 9 years. 4 players had 80-plus points, 8 of them hit the 50-point mark, and 8 players scored 20 or more goals. The Red Wings met the 8th-seeded Edmonton Oilers in the opening round. The Oilers only had a plus 5 goal differential, and they barely even qualified for the postseason. But little did the Red Wings know they were in for a rude awakening. Edmonton was led by red-hot goalie Dwayne Rollison, Hall of Fame defenseman Chris Pronger, and power forwards Fernando Pisani, Rafi Torres, and Ryan Smith. They threw their weight at Detroit and kept their top players in check throughout the series. The Oilers dominated much of the series and upset the league's top team in 6 games, winning a thriller on home ice to clinch it. Edmonton would reach the Stanley Cup final, but they were just 1 game short, upsetting the Carolina Hurricanes. But the 05-06 Oilers continue to be remembered for pulling off that big-time upset against a Detroit team that looked poised to win it all yet again. Number 6, the 10-11 San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs had already won 4 NBA championships under head coach Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan. They were well positioned to add a 5th in the 2010-11 season, having earned the top seed in the Western Conference with a 61-21 record. As usual, the Spurs were led by the big 3 of Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. Unfortunately, the Spurs were hit by injuries at the worst possible time. Duncan had suffered an ankle injury late in the regular season, and Ginobili was trying to play through a broken arm. Well, the Spurs were still expected to handle the 8th-seeded Memphis Grizzlies, who finished with a 46-36 record. And sure, they had some big playmakers in Zach Randolph, Rudy Gay, and Marc Gasol, but this was the Spurs. The Grizzlies weren't going to actually pull this upset off, right? Well, the banged-up Spurs just couldn't keep up as Randolph, Gasol, and Conley completely took over the series. Memphis finished off San Antonio in 6 games, becoming the 4th number 8 seed in NBA history to pull off the first-round upset. Number 5, the 2011 Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies were 3 years removed from the 2008 World Series, but the 2011 squad was by far the best group this franchise had in the 21st century. The Phillies led the majors with 102 wins and 60 losses, and their team ERA of 3.02 was tops in the majors. They finished with a plus 184 run differential, and it was thanks to one of the greatest rotations ever assembled. Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, and Cole Hamels combined to win 50 games, and each of them recorded an ERA of 2.79 or lower. All-star slugger Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Jimmy Rollins powered this Phillies offense. The Phillies met the NL wildcard St. Louis Cardinals in the NLDS. You know, the team that only qualified on the final day of the regular season. Well, Philly clobbered the Cardinals 11-6 in Game 1, but the Phils only scored 10, count them 10, combined runs over the next 4 games, and the Cards capped off the upset with a 1-0 victory in the decisive Game 5. The Phillies went from World Series favorite to gone in the division series, and they failed to record a winning season in each of the next 7 years, so yes, it's quite the upset. Number 4, the 93-94 Seattle SuperSonics. The star-studded Seattle SuperSonics were miles ahead of the competition in 93 and 94, and with Michael Jordan briefly retired, the path was there for Seattle to bring home an NBA championship. Led by legendary head coach George Karl, Hall of Famer Gary Payton, and all-star big man Shawn Kemp, Seattle led the NBA with 63 wins. They had the 2nd best offensive rating and the 3rd best defensive rating, and 5 players averaged 14 plus points per game. Seattle met the 8th-seeded Denver Nuggets in the opening round of the playoffs. Denver finished with a mediocre 42-40 record. They were a mere 19th in scoring offense, but 5th in defensive rating. Still, this best of 5 was supposed to be a cakewalk for the SuperSonics. Seattle's top players performed well, but the Nuggets also got excellent production from unsung heroes like LaFonso Ellis, Reggie Williams, and Dikembe Mutombo. Ho, 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 ho. The Sonics won the first 2 games, but Denver rallied with 2 big home wins to even the series, setting up a winner-take-all Game 5 in the Emerald City. The contest required overtime and was led by Robert Pack's 29 points and LaFonso Ellis' 19. The Nuggets pulled off a shocking 98-94 victory over the NBA's best regular season team. Seattle would finally reach the NBA Finals 2 years later, but they were dispatched by the Bulls and never brought home that elusive title with this core. As for Denver, they pushed Karl Malone's Utah Jazz in round 2, but the magical run ended in 7 games. Number 3, the 93-94 Detroit Red Wings. Led by legendary head coach Scotty Bowman and a ton of Hall of Famers that included Steve Yzerman, Sergei Fedorov, and Paul Coffey, the Red Wings had all the makings to end their near 4-decade-long Stanley Cup drought. Detroit had the NHL's best offense during the regular season, scoring a total of 356 goals. They finished with 100 points and met the San Jose Sharks in the opening round of the playoffs. The Sharks were only in their 3rd year of existence, They only won 33 games and they just had 82 points. They had a negative goal differential during the regular season too. Oh, and 6 Red Wings had more points than Sergei Makarov, who led San Jose with 68 points. Anyway, the young Sharks, full of no-name players, somehow kept pace with the Red Wings and forced a 7th game at Joe Louis Arena. The decisive contest was tied 2-2 with under 7 minutes to go. Red Wings goalie Chris Osgood misplayed the puck off the boards, allowing Jamie Baker to score on an empty net for the series-winning goal. San Jose held on for the monumental upset, and Detroit's cup drought wouldn't end for another 3 years. Number 2, the 06-07 Dallas Mavericks. Coming off a trip to the NBA Finals, Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks looked poised to finally win their first title in franchise history. They ran away with the best regular season record, winning 67 games while dropping just 15. Dallas had the 2nd best offensive rating and the 5th best defensive rating. Dirk won the league MVP after averaging 24, 8, and 3. He had a strong supporting cast that also included Josh Howard and Jason Terry, who averaged 18 and 16 points per game, respectively. The Mavericks drew an easy first-round matchup against the Golden State Warriors team that finished with a mere 42 wins and 40 losses. Though the Dubs had the league's 2nd best offense, they also ranked 30th in scoring defense, allowing 106 points per game. But Baron Davis, Steven Jackson, and Jason Richardson straight up took over the series, absolutely taking it to the Mavericks' star-studded lineup. The trio combined for 404 points in the series, and Golden State sent Dallas packing in 6 games. The Warriors became just the 3rd 8th seed in NBA history to upset the top seed in the opening round. But none of those other upsets were as shocking as this. The Mavs had won 25 more games in the regular season, so this is pretty shocking. Number 1, the 2018 and 19 Tampa Bay Lightning. The NHL has been built on parity since the 04-05 lockout. The salary cap was put into place so that a few teams wouldn't embarrass the competition so easily. At least that was the league's intention. But the 2018 and 19 Tampa Bay Lightning pieced together an incredible regular season that may never be topped again. They cruised to the President's Trophy after racking up 128 points, and the Lightning matched the 95-96 Red Wings record for most wins in a single season with 62. Nikita Kucherov ran away with the scoring title after registering 128 points, the most in the post-lockout era, and the most ever in 1 year for a Russian-born player. Tampa had the league's best offense, scoring 325 goals, while allowing the 5th fewest. Steven Stamkos had 45 goals and 98 points. Braden Point had 41 goals and 92 points. 11 players had double-digit goals. Top defenseman Victor Hedman had perhaps the best season of his career. So what happened when the Bolts met the 8th-seeded Columbus Blue Jackets in round 1? Everything went burning to the ground for the Lightning. Former Lightning head coach John Tortorella instituted the perfect defensive schemes, and the Bolts couldn't break through. Columbus pulled off the shocking first-round sweep. It was the first playoff series win in the franchise's history, and they only defeated one of the top 5 greatest regular season teams ever, loaded with superstars, future Hall of Famers. Which do you think is the most shocking first-round exit of all time? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and we truly appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.